Let's take a look at hands. Let's look at Preston Blair's book. And here we see a whole page of hands that he's drawn in early 30s, well, late 30s, early 40s cartoon style. These are typical hands of a couple of different characters. So let's see how different styles of hands can be drawn based on these and real hands. So this first one, this one is just like Preston's hands. It's a very meaty, roundy, we used to call this roundy ball hands, roundy ball style. Everything is round and organic looking. You have a nice round palm here with these fingers coming off that come out, up, and around. They might be just a little bit thicker, and then they taper in just a little bit, and then go back to being thick again when they meet the palm. It's a very subtle piece of drawing there. Here's another style of hand where you build on the palm, and the fingers are thin where they connect, and then they grow out to be bulbous towards the ends. And you see how they get a little fatter as they get away from the palm. Here's one where the fingers stay the same width from top to bottom. It's just an even hand, even fingers, and they meet at the palm and stay the same width at the palm. You might see these on Simpson characters. Here's one where the fingers taper. And they're kind of short and stubby, but they taper as they go out. Here's one where they taper a lot and the fingers are longer. They come up here and almost to a point, but not quite. This is an old-fashioned hand, just doing kind of a point. Maybe he's getting ready to press a button or something. Here's a stylized hand, and maybe you wouldn't see that much of his thumbnail on this view. So it might just come down like this with a little bit of the knuckle there. And the fingers, they usually are square at the tips. They may or may not taper down as they get to the palm. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It just depends on what the designer wants. The big change here is that where the hand meets the wrist is only half the size of what it would usually be. So in that regard, it's a very stylized way of handling the hand. And we might get a pose something like this with that hand. I don't think don't need that line there. So the knuckle would be here and come up like that. And then everything is shading down here. And the thumb might curve round like this. And again, a very thin wrist. But these are the basic kinds of hands that usually are drawn on different projects around the industry. It just depends on where you're working. When you look at the model pack, you have to ask yourself, maybe you have a little discussion with the designer. How do you handle the hands? They may or may not have a page of hands for the show. It may just be on the turnarounds for the character or the attitude drawings of the character. And then you have to figure out, how do I construct these hands? Usually we construct by having a box and fingers coming off the box. And if it's not a box, then it's going to be a circle I guess I could put the thumb on this side, actually. And it comes down like this. They may or may not have a glove on. Usually characters today I don't think wear gloves too much. This is left over from way back in the last century. So but everything is round and organic with these types of hands, as you see. You can take this out, but you don't really need it. Anyway, that's our little exploration also of how to do hands. You can figure out what kind of hands you want to do for your project, or if you're helping someone else on their project, you have to ask them, how do you handle the hands in your show? Somebody has to say, this is how the hands are done, and show everyone else, this is the kind of look we're going for. So give it a shot, try it yourself, and keep drawing and keep having fun.